Are you a Jedi?
I am.
Well, hello there. It's your buddy, Admiral Teag, and I've got my pal, Captain Petty, with me, and we're looking forward to The Mandalorian Season 3.
Some of us are, but what you should definitely do is like and subscribe on this channel.
Thank you, Captain, and right on point. You should definitely like and subscribe. Your buddy, Admiral Teag.
So, Admiral, Season 3 is coming. What'd you think of Season 1 and 2?
And Season 2.5.
Oh, boy. I'm an expert on Season 1 and 2, but I could not stomach the fact that Boba Fett got a series, which obviously was a Mandalorian series.
We have to give the actor who played, as I imitate the guy from Red Letter Media's voice, we have to give the actor who played Boba Fett credit for saying that he didn't want to deliver those lines and going right to the media. And sort of subverting chain of command right there in real time.
Which lines did he want to say? The ones in Attack of the Clones? The ones on...
No, they love those lines. Those are beloved lines.
I'm just a man trying to make my way in the universe.
Now that's a great line. Who wrote it?
I don't know. Was it John Favreau?
It was George Lucas. And the thing
Really?
about George Lucas's Star Wars is it was better. It was more fun. It was faster, more intense.
And he was reined in by,
His own
better,
hubris,
well-knowing...
his love of technology and mistakes do rein him in the prequels.
So, Admiral, what do you think of Seasons 1 and 2?
Season 1, Episode 1, was the most commanding half hour of Star Wars we had gotten in a long time.
By
as
a long
Mike
time,
from
you
Red
mean-
Letter Media would say. I would say since Revenge of the Sith.
I would say the best.
It was the best Star Wars I'd seen since Revenge of the Sith.
You see, Star Wars...
It was the only thing I saw that was as good as Clone Wars,
I love...
the TV show.
I don't
cartoon.
love... I'm sorry, I don't love...
Go
I
ahead.
like... Solo Star Wars story.
We have a strong difference of opinion on the Solo.
Do you know why?
movie. Why?
It took out everything I don't like about Star Wars.
Like Lando being cool?
The lineage, it took... Oh, okay. Lando was not cool in that movie.
No.
It took out the,
Like
it
Han
took out
Solo
the
being
stupid
smart.
lineage. It took out... It took out lightsabers. It took out the Force. And it gave me... It gave me the Star Wars Shadows of the Empire feelings.
And
I didn't say vibes because I'm an adult.
And I couldn't get to the end of Andor. The end of Andor's finished. It exists. But at episode 10 or 11, I didn't care
We're
anymore.
talking about the Mandalorian.
But okay, see, the first episode was great. Then as we developed and fleshed out through that first season, maybe at some point, maybe it circled the wagon like once or twice. It might have had
But not the drain. It did not circle
Not
the
circle
drain.
the drain. It had a misfire episode here and there, but it was never
Yes.
bad.
Like even Breaking Bad had the
I would
episode
say
with the fly.
It was the first Star Wars that I wanted to watch again in a long time. But what I
agree.
found out was this: the second time I watched it, I saw a lot of fucking mistakes.
What do you think the mistakes were?
Shooting from one direction, and then when we see our heroes, the gunfire's coming from a totally
that's a
different
filmmaking
direction.
mistake.
But what happens when it's consistent and it's always? Let's say you never get it right. Would that not build up and challenge your immersion? That's the problem with the bad episodes of Mandalorian,
Well, the
and
bad
they exist
episodes-
now too.
Okay, what I would associate there is the storytelling The Mandalorian. I would give a solid 10 out of, let's say, 10. The only thing I could really take away from it is it's a lot of landing on a planet. My ship is messed up. I need to find the things for my ship. I meet characters. I do
My
things
ship got
characters.
stolen and stripped by space Jawas.
I do the things that the character wants for me to get my ship good, and then a little bit of fan service, and then over.
Here's the thing: they did fan service okay in The Mandalorian, as opposed to just ham-fistedly like they had done it before.
But like
The fan service in just the first season of The Mandalorian, in context of that,
Yes.
was great.
But
and then we got
we all-
season 2.
now, the end of season 2, I feel like was a little bit warranted. It was a little creepy. Doesn't really work for me.
The end of season
But-
2 being the return of Luke.
Yes.
I have a lot of problems with that episode as much as I loved watching it. First of all, Luke Skywalker doesn't kill a living thing.
They also built
He is
up.
brave and tough, though. That was a good
They
start.
built up those troopers to be unkillable, and then he.
He had no problem with Ultron.
Well played. My favorite thing about the first season of Mandalorian is the IG-11. Is it 11?
That was great
You know why?
because it was so much fun, and that Star Wars is supposed to be fun.
Once again, IG-88 in the books.
Oh, he's one of a collective.
Also in the video game. This is supposed to be 4 of them, and this would be
Well,
4
there's 4
IG.
remaining.
and one actually...
There used to be a lot more.
Yes. One actually becomes one with the Death Star, and Boba Fett puts a thermal detonator in his body right when it happens, and he gets blown up.
Interesting.
Also in the Shadows of the Empire video game, he's probably the second hardest boss in the entire game. So when he becomes a friend in the show, I found it very endearing. I found it very I felt it was like a little bit of like deep fan service, and it was highly enjoyable. Pedro Pascal's performance, without his face being shown until in later episodes, unfucking believable.
I got news for you.
Everything.
I got news for you. It's not there.
In the suit.
Ever. Except when we see his face. No,
I
this has
disagree.
been verified. And if we're wrong, leave a comment. But I think this has been verified.
Wait.
I don't think if I'm wrong, because my fleet captain, who would take control of this fleet should anything happen to me on this channel, you should like and sub, is trying to expand on his point. You know what? Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Carl Weathers,
Right?
absolutely fucking flawless. What's her name?
Yes.
Gina, what's her name?
Gina Carano was great.
Oh my god.
And that-
oh my god.
And
What
that
a
and that's
great-
when we see the dysfunctionality of
Bill Burr's character.
which time?
All of them? When he gets he gets trapped in the ship and also he does
My
the,
problem is this.
he does the infiltration.
My problem.
And then an episode where Pedro Pascal needs to take his helmet off.
I really enjoyed
Bill Burr's just a good actor anyway.
Mayweather's character in The
Definitely.
Mandalorian, despite the fact that he's in two of the very stupidest episodes of both seasons.
The most fun.
They are the most fun, but this was what I said. Remember how I said The Mandalorian was the first Star Wars I wanted to watch again?
Yes.
The
It ruined
Mandalorian,
it for
the
you?
Mandalorian started me in the habit of watching Star Wars again for the first time.
Yeah.
Here's the
How about a
thing:
toast
I could
to
watch
Operation
Empire
Cinder?
Strikes Back, an
Flawless.
outlier movie that's better than the other Star Wars movies
No,
by
it's
a
the only,
lot.
it's actually, if you think about it, it might be the only good one. Actually,
A New Hope,
is-
Star Wars 77
I'm
is
sorry,
a very,
it's
very,
19
very good movie.
No,
and
it's
the
one of the best movies
1982
ever
movie
made.
just happens to
One of the
be
best movies
better.
ever made. What?
1982's Empire Strikes Back might be the best
1980.
sci-fi movie of all time. I'm sorry, 1980s.
In 1982 was.
You know, we're here in 2282, so remembering the time frame for these 20th century and we're going broadcasting to 2022, so these 21st century people can be difficult. But I mean, we've got a lot to work with.
All right. So this is how I feel about the Mandalorian overall.
Go ahead.
Some of it's written a little bit lazy, and it's good. Actually, it's not good. It's,
So here's the thing. I
but
think.
you're not letting me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
It's better than good, but people are mistaking it for great because they haven't been shown what great is in a very long time. A lot of it's being propelled. We haven't even mentioned it yet. Grogu, the Baby Yoda, which is the crux of all
Who's become overly familiar now.
memes and merchandising and
I'm
which
wondering.
actually builds a lot of character for Pedro Pascal. Like it's his plot device, and it works. And the fact they dragged it for season 2 works even more,
Here's
which
the
makes the
thing.
goodbye even better.
Baby Yoda isn't in what you said was one of the better episodes of season 2, which is one that I can't explain. The one where Mayweather, our character we like,
Bill Burr.
yeah, we bring him back, and when we first bring him back, it is pretty cool the way we pull him off the planet, and Gina Carano grabs him out of jail, and we see that he's kind of making up for what he did in the first episode, and that even though that episode
Well,
wasn't
that's a-
great, he
that's
was fun in it.
That's a
he was
story
fun.
arc. That's a character arc.
Yes.
That's a lost.
But then when they
No, I just
hijacked the
know it.
truck from the
I lived it.
Imperials, right? They get
was in
attacked.
All right. Okay, you're right. That part. Was
What
a
are the
little-
people who attacked the Empire called?
Rebels?
So what do they do to the rebels?
Kill them. Find them.
With their do they kill them with their guns though?
No. They
How do
torture
they
them.
kill those rebels?
They torture them. They blow up their planets.
No, I mean in the Mandalorian episode
I
with
don't
the.
remember. You're baiting
right.
me, but you're winning.
Okay, this one I remember very well because I've watched them all twice, and the show. I remembered how many times I watched, even Return of the Jedi without being bored, even by the Ewoks, and even with the new song.
It's
I
actually
still
not
enjoyed
bad.
it. It's still not that bad. The Emperor, Vader, and Luke makes up for any problems the movie has. That part's great. It's
And
great.
That's like the most. That's like the most prequels part of those of Return of the Jedi is that awful dialogue, but it actually works on that level.
In Return of the Jedi is the OT, my friend, but we'll work on that later.
No, it is, but I'm saying the dialogue.
Oh, in the prequels.
It's
Sure.
it's prequel dialogue.
Here's the problem. You know what?
Yeah.
George Lucas didn't bring
Your
along
friends is yours.
he didn't bring along his co-writers from the first
Oh no, because
trilogy, and he threw a few people out of his circle. So there's something going on with George Lucas in the creation at that point. But you know what? The rumor is that he brought back one of them, his ex-wife, to repolish the script for Revenge of the Sith, which feels much more Star Warsy than the first two, right? And I would argue that The Phantom Menace is a good and beloved movie, which is endearing and fun to watch. And I think that the only person who ever really got hell from Star Wars fans might be Ahmad Best. He might be the only person to ever be the victim of fans.
No,
I don't want to hear about anyone else.
the kid who played Anakin in the
Maybe Jake Lloyd. But
No, Jake Lloyd got it way worse on that.
Well, here's the thing. Jake Lloyd was already in a high-risk situation, child actor. Ahmad Best, an established actor who is going somewhere. This pulled him off track. And
Well,
I
he
saw
played-
it. Have
he
you ever
played
seen
a fake
it?
Jamaican floppy-eared rabbit lizard?
What's your next favorite Ahmad Best movie?
I don't have one. What's your second favorite James Lloyd movie?
The Rush with Sean Young.
Dead.
I would say my second.
Sean Young. What else? What she's ever done?
Where is Sean? Sean Young, by the way, came to terms with the people that she borrowed the computer from in 2018, was it?
Sean Young was in Blade Runner.
Last seen in Queens, New York.
Stealing the computer.
Borrowing a computer, it turns out. They worked it out that she borrowed the computer. She's no longer off the grid. The people got the original copy and only copy of their movie back. The computers had a whole finished movie. I don't know what it was or if it ever got released.
This is talking about Commander Hello.
Sean Young came up. All right, listen, The Mandalorian, the problem is this. The small mistakes build up and break your immersion. The Cara Dune scene in front of Baby Yoda when he comes in The Rescue, the most exciting piece of Star Wars we got, it doesn't bear up to scrutiny very well at all. Where's Cara Dune from?
How about a toast to Operation Cinder?
Alderaan. Cara Dune's from Alderaan.
Which is
She
no-
talks about it a lot. I don't blame you. It's been a while since we saw her, and that's too bad. And that speaks to the dysfunctionality at Disney. Because there's two groups of people. The people who wrote Obi-Wan, which is pure garbage.
Oh, why I can't even.
And the Book of Boba Fett is a different
Can I
group of
please-
incompetence.
Can I please say something about Obi-Wan?
It was horrible.
Real quick, I watched the scene where
Sheer
Obi-Wan
hubris.
and Darth Vader are fighting with the half mask split off. Let me finish.
Yes.
By the way,
It
you
made
take
no
it. You guys
sense.
take a shot every time I say, "Can I finish?"
Yes.
So that fight made me want to see a prequel series. I know it doesn't exist. A prequel series talking about the birth of Darth Vader and the friendship between Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker, because it doesn't exist. That was in between. I never saw it.
But now
That was
Obi-Wan
one of
is-
the best scenes in sci-fi or fantasy ever.
from the Obi-Wan
The fight
TV
in
show.
Obi-Wan. Yes.
I
Oh my
do
God.
not agree.
By far.
Admiral disagrees.
By far. One of the. You know what?
This is why we have our own.
We are going to review it.
We have independent thought here.
We are going to review that
Let's bring
scene.
it back to the Mandalorian for a minute. Let's take it to a character. Our favorite character
Gina
is
Carano.
Gina Carano, but one of our other favorites, aside
Bill
from Carl
Burr,
Weathers,
Mayweather.
is Bill Burr Mayweather.
Yeah.
Mayweather's in 2 terrible episodes, but he floats it because he's pretty good.
No, he's not pretty good. He makes
He's
he
great.
makes the episode.
He's great.
He's basically
But
the
tell
lead
me,
in
do
the
you,
episode.
do you remember anything about the episode with him in it, the second one?
remember
Aside
the-
from breaking him out of jail.
and the
They
s-
go to a
the
planet,
sneaky shit.
they kill a bunch of rebels
and
on
then he
that
has to take his
planet.
mask off. They're eating lunch.
The world's stupidest. When their technology is worse than ours, don't you agree that's a problem?
No, because it's in a galaxy long, long ago.
So in that galaxy,
far
until
away.
they see your face, they know don't what? Wait, What was going on with that facial ID scanner that they said that they had to take his helmet off for? It made no sense. He could use it because it had never seen him before, so it wouldn't remember him? Is that what they said?
If it doesn't remember him, it should trigger.
That was pretty Rise of Skywalker. It's like the
Well-
Star Destroyers don't know which way's up. We need to take off the helmet.
Maybe someone should tell us in the comments. Maybe we're wrong.
It was like Mandalorian and Bill Burr are in that cafeteria, and they got that antagonistic Imperial officer approaches them, and it seems like it's fun. And on the second viewing, you realize a couple of things. One, Mando gets progressively uncomfortable the more someone acts dumber than him, because he's used to being the stupidest person on camera. Because when you watch it a second time, because it's good enough to watch twice, the problem that you run into is that Mando's pretty dumb. He always has better options.
He's got one. Well, can I explain to you why he's
How
not?
about
He's been a bounty
Operation
hunter for so
Cinder?
long. He's never been a caretaker. He's never been trying to. He's in a new role.
We saw him have
There's a man
one
who
too
knows
many
his
misfires of a blaster that we didn't see through how many
That's
movies.
what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm trying to say this show is
The
good. It's not
damage
great.
builds up.
It's good. It's not great.
It's good
People think
on
this
its
is
best.
great.
It's good on its best
Best
week.
day. Thank
But
you.
there are episodes that are
It's
shit.
when he's like in that ice cavern. Or
One of the
whatever.
better episodes of The Mandalorian is isolated inside Book of Boba Fett.
I did
like
not
one
watch
of
that
those
because
episodes. Oh, who could blame you? I would say this, as misguided and terrible, and as much as I excoriated
this is
Book
my
of Boba
father,
Fett,
Jango Fett. Boba Fett.
the dialogue in Book of Boba Fett so infantile. We need water. I was born surrounded by water. That's what a child says, man. Star Wars is so
it's what an adult says in their brain.
Star Wars is so horribly broken now that when the Mandalorian goes out and gives us a competent episode, it's like the smartest.
Thank you so much for these peanuts.
And the-
Thank you. Please, mister, may I please have some more?
Did you go to grammar school?
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Did you go to middle school?
I did.
Was it a Catholic school or a public school?
Fuck no! It was a fucking public school.
All right. Did you ever fashion a paper? Or did they call them airplanes in the 21st century?
Yes,
Did you throw one across the room?
I did. I actually went to aviation high school, so
Which is a really good high school.
I'm also a licensed airplane mechanic.
By the way,
and
one
an
of-
expert in orchestrated combat.
Aviation high school here in New York City is one of the most regarded, up there with Bronx Science, perhaps the best school in all of Queens. If Peter Parker lived in Queens for real, he would really go to Aviation High School.
He'd probably just do what he did.
No, I think he would go to Aviation High School because that's, in my opinion, Queens' best public school.
They actually throw.
I have a high regard for
They actually
Aviation
throw an
High.
extra 3 hours in the school day.
You know what? You're learning a really important job. Planes can't fall out of the sky now, can they? You gotta want to go there.
No, they can't. Like, you know.
You have no non-dedicated students.
They at least fly out of the sky.
None of those kids can have a job either. Really, it's very hard to go to high school and have a job.
I heard people who got jobs in the early 2000s, but there was a history-altering event that made that really hard.
I'm saying,
Unless you wanted the fixed brakes
I'm saying
for air.
it's hard enough to go to
JetBlue.
I'm saying it's hard enough to go to high school. You're going to
It's not
almost
that hard,
twice,
kids.
but you're going to almost twice as much high school, spending
I
twice
did.
as much time in class.
But I had time
the
to
most
get late.
high
I mean,
pressure.
my grandpa, my great.
That's right. But here's the thing: it's a high pressure high school and a very respected one. At any rate, back to the
Is it?
Mandalorian. Yes, it is. It's nationally recognized in some ways. I'll go back to that later. We'll work on that later.
How good I am?
And how great Aviation High School is, and yes, you by extension, and how great I am for going to Stony Brook. That's another whole discussion. Yes, we have a lot of people who've gone to the
Speaking of
public,
people who know what
the
cocaine
public
was.
schools of New York here on the sweat of their own brow,
Yeah.
on their own accord.
Fucking public school. Really?
Public school diploma means a lot to me. Anyway, The Mandalorian. What a disaster when it's bad. When it's bad, it's rolling and burning
It's
and
never
rolling and burning.
bad. That's my
How
whole
about
point.
Boba Fett and the Mando versus stormtroopers with Fennec busting on them with the gaffy stick, and then the
okay.
strange artillery where we saw mortars for the first time, and how much does The Mandalorian do damage to the idea that you should be afraid of stormtroopers?
You're not supposed to be afraid of stormtroopers. You're
How
supposed
much
to
does
be afraid
it
of
do damage?
stormtroopers.
How afraid of you are of stormtroopers when you first saw Star Wars 77?
Look, sir, droid.
A little bit.
How long
Wait,
have you
when that door first got, was that the first Star Wars movie you saw?
Yes.
When they blew open that door, did you know if they were robots or men?
Let me see your
Yes, you were a
identification.
I didn't know until they tore their suits off on the Death Star and put
Are
them
you
on.
sure? Because that one guy who clones
Me personally, that happens after they put on the
figured-
armor on the ship.
I figured
That happens
since there were
on the Death
different
Star.
one when Leia said you're too short to be a stormtrooper, I assumed that meant there were different.
Here's the thing, at that point I don't think the Stormtroopers were meant to be clones, and I don't think they're meant to be clones in our minds. I think the Empire was so big and so successful.
They're
In
not-
Star
why
Wars
would they be
77, patriotism.
plans
It was
are
patriotism.
not
You
in
wanted
the
to be a
execution.
Stormtrooper.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you live in world, if you live on Tatooine like Luke, or even a place like Coruscant,
you can trick so many idiots.
What was Han
over
Solo's
a
dream?
galaxy?
What was Han Solo's dream as a kid? Who did he want to? What did he
To
want
be
to
a
be?
pilot, right?
An Imperial TIE fighter pilot.
And what
Open the
happened?
blast
He
doors.
ended up
Open
a
the blast
Trooper
doors.
without Stormtrooper armor. The only Stormtrooper to never get Stormtrooper armor until Andor. That
What's
Mudtrooper
next?
armor sucks.
Follow me.
Anyway,
Would it?
so
How
let's
many
wrap-
people wear that for Halloween?
You
not as
stand
many as the
guard.
Crow or the Joker.
Give me
I'll
regular
tell you that.
reports, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. It was. There were some things about the Solo movie that were low effort, and we see
There should be
grand.
more Casey Jones constantly.
We see some
Maybe
stuff from the
another drill.
Mandalorian. They try to save some of their movies with their only successful TV show, and then in
It's
season
not
2
even a
of the
TV show. It's streamable.
let's call the Mandalorian TV show for the purposes of how they make it.
Oh, because it's shorter and it's better than movies. Yes,
It's better than the movies we got. It's the only good Star Wars Disney's given us.
It's the only good Star Wars.
Are you
since
looking
1980.
forward to watching
Then they get the
a Han
It's the-
Solo movie as a fan?
Not really.
There's an awesome episode in it, but how many times does Mando just spin off a backdoor pilot? Like,
So,
it got old. It happened 5 times.
Mad Max is not about Mad Max, correct?
That strange frog woman, and they would.
Evil Dead.
How about when Baby
It's
Yoda?
not about Ash.
How about when Baby Yoda cannibalizes the frog lady's gestations in season 2?
So what's the point? What's the point you're getting at?
When the Mandalorian's bad, it's terrible.
No, it's not terrible. It's just
It was
bad.
terrible when Baby Yoda
It's
ate
never
the frog
great.
lady's babies.
It's never. Yeah, that's really.
He ate those infants.
It's never. It's more
It was
like
unnecessary.
It was almost like a stop.
It was more like they had to have a joke and didn't think about it. They didn't think it through. And we found out with the Book of Boba Fett that they were only a couple of weeks ahead in production because they were able to try to do damage control. As bad as Book of Boba Fett was, and you were right not to watch it, I do
You know what?
give them
You
credit for
watch-
this.
you
They
watch
tried
Blade
the
Runner
course
2049,
correct.
I'll watch Book of Boba Fett.
Oh God, you know what? I won't hold you to that, but you know what? I'm going to say this.
You do have to watch. Blade
This is
Runner
what I love Blade Runner 2049, and I will watch it again. But I'm going to say this: the only thing I can give them credit for in Blade Runner 2049, I'm sorry, in Book of Boba Fett was they understood there was a problem. They tried the course correct. They tried to pump the brakes. They tried to fix it. They just couldn't. They threw a couple of things at us to change up the conversation. They did cut one episode out of the loop. They very quickly killed a bunch of people in that final episode.
Fine with me.
And then they kind of tried. They were recycling a lot of Clone Wars stuff. I would say my favorite episode of.
People haven't seen the Clone Wars.
It's going to be so hard to watch. My favorite episode of the Book of Boba Fett is probably the one that they would call Gun Train. It's that stupid. Gun Train, yeah.
Anyway, so Admiral, let's wrap this up. So,
The Mandalorian is the best we've gotten, but looking ahead to season 3, it's all up for grabs. The last 3 times we've seen we've seen the Mandalorian, our pal, and Baby Yoda, they've said goodbye for the last time and been reunited forever, over and over and over. Can we do that again?
well, you need to get more plushies out there, Admiral. So you gotta
I
reunite
think what
them.
happened was there was a plot collapse so bad during the Book of Boba Fett show that they had to go out of sequence on The Mandalorian and destroy their intended plot thread, which was to do this Mandalorian Civil War with Boomer from the better Battlestar Galactica, not that both aren't good. But they were going to do this Mandalorian Civil War before they reunited him, and now Baby Yoda's back with him. And what do you think? As cool as Mando's new ship looks, how inappropriate is it for his job and his life?
Wait, isn't that
His ship sucks
isn't
now.
that the ship from? Isn't that the Naboo Starfighter?
You don't know this.
Don't tell me. 'cause-
No, you have to find it. It gets thrown at you anyway, and it's a year ago. No, this is a non-spoiler. Well, you know the Razor Crest got destroyed. You saw the Razor Crest get destroyed in season 2 of The Mandalorian. And by the way, why doesn't Cara Dune know who saved her planet on The Rescue? Why doesn't she know who Prince Luke Skywalker is? Well, the Mandalorian is bad.
Wait,
it's
yeah,
really
isn't Luke
bad.
Skywalker's name supposed to fall into legend?
No one says anything as they stare at him kind of blankly, which means that the Mandalorian doesn't push away the sequels. It doesn't actively denounce them. It silently endorses them. It hasn't spoken out against them.
In my heart of hearts, this is the only sequel ever to.
You're going to see a strange episode with Luke, and you tell me what planet he's on. Is it the planet from Last Jedi?
I'm on frickin' Pluto right now. Listening
All
to
right.
the effect-
We're wrapping up our thoughts on The Mandalorian Season 3, and all we can say is, I don't know what to expect quality-wise. I want
I'm
to see
seeing
it. and I like it.
the guy from Salacious Crumb is in a tree right now.
Going forward from this, all I can say about The Mandalorian Season 3, I know for sure is this. It at least wants me to like it, and it doesn't hate me for liking it.
And I guess I'll watch it anyway. You know what's keeping us going though, Admiral?
Alcohol.
Sheer
Fucking hubris.
Morning, the
And
NYPD is looking
See
to
you next
question
time.
actress
Like and subscribe
Sean
to Arch.
Young over an alleged burglary in Queens. TMZ is reporting that the actress, who was recently in Blade Runner 2049, was allegedly caught on camera stealing laptops and video production software in Astoria. The actress reportedly appears on the surveillance video with a man.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this